Hello, everybody. This is JaggerG with a test for our new reboot to Route TSG. Of course, I'll be starting off with the well, at least this test video will be of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, which has a pretty interesting history in our group. But first, of course, every good run has to start off with a good countdown. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Frankerzy. Alright. So this game is pretty infamous among our group. In the second Metroid Marathon, it was scheduled to be Britt, Heath, and Rob collaborating on the game because it's a pretty long game and it's very difficult to learn. So it was pretty short. It was pretty short before the marathon that they had to come up with a schedule. So they couldn't exactly no one of them could practice the entire game. So they decided to take turns in the marathon, thinking hopefully it should make things easier, right? Well, that didn't happen. Apparently, when you trade off controllers to somebody else, the next player kinda doesn't really know where you left off, what you picked up, where you need to go. So, that made things difficult. But we fixed that in the third Metroid Marathon by me deciding to take it over and spend about 5 months beforehand training, just trying to figure out how I'm supposed to go through this game. So luckily this was shortly after the revelation, the discovery of this pretty significant trick. Let's back up here. First of all, we back up to this web, and that unloads this room, and we have to reload it. And just inch slightly forward, you'll notice right here, if you look closely at the mini-map, it doesn't change rooms. Next up, we look at a very specific spot on the wall. We have to line our reticle up with this blue square right in the middle here. Which is not strictly necessary, but it helps a lot. And then you morph, and because you're in, technically, the wrong room, there's some weird physics that holds you in place while you accelerate. You'll know if you got the alignment right when you just hold down and right on the control stick, and it just wedges you in place, and you'll speed up, but then you'll slow down to what seems to be a stop. Now, if you're running at faster than 60 if you're running at 60 FPS in full speed, then you'll notice the ball just flickering. You'll notice the lines on the morph ball, and like the outer, well, the inside of the ball will appear in two places at the same time. Eventually, you'll become this translucent, glowing white orb, and as soon as you see that, you're gonna want to do a very small boost ball. Just press B just for a split second. There we go. And go back to the area you entered from. Just go to these crates right here. You want to hold a little bit up on the control stick, just halfway between the maximum tilt. And then just do a short boost. You'll know you got it right when the screen fades to black. However, there is a high probability that you'll actually crash the game, and there's also a decent probability that you'll actually cause no effects at all. And if that happens, you can go to other pairs of crates to do this on. You just want to be careful not to bump into other things when you're boosting, because that typically causes crashes. So now it spawns it starts a cutscene that plays in the room above, and of course, since you're not supposed to activate the cutscene transitioning that way, well, it places you out of bounds. And this is pretty much where you'll be spending most of the run. very tricky jumping around out of bounds here, because the physics are just not normal out here. I'll elaborate more on that later. So if you could find a place to stand, you could jump your way up to the top. You're going to want to trigger the next room to load. Again, you'll see the room going black, and then you'll just morph and then fall down from the ceiling onto this powerbomb expansion. You can also tell when the next room is loading by just listening very closely to your GameCube or your Wii. You'll actually hear clicking and things and whirring and stuff. Next, you're gonna want to get back inbounds. The easiest way to do that is actually triggering this cutscene that opens this gate, and you could just walk through. Just pretend you've been playing the game normally the whole time, right? Nothing wrong here. Just get your first missile expansion. So now, this isn't really part of the normal route, but you're gonna want as many energy tanks later on in the game as you can get. For a very good reason. You're gonna have to learn to roll jump. Once you do it a few times, it's pretty easy. You just morph into a ball, you hold R, and as soon as you go behind the ledge, you unmorph, and right after you hit jump and hold L. For some reason that retains your momentum and lets you fly through the air as fast as morph ball speed. And you won't get across, but if you touch the wall, it's far enough that the game just thinks you fell from that ledge for some reason, and it'll let you across. But not to worry, there's an energy tank in the next room if you make it. So this room is actually less scary than it looks, even though you're low health, potentially. These terminal falls, when you fall down here, actually don't do damage in this room. This trick right here is pretty much the easiest trick in the world. Just jump on this crate and jump up. Jump on this crate and jump. Try not to hit your head. Really, all you have to do is just jump backwards and not hit your head. Oh, kind of easier said than done. I guess it's not the easiest trick in the world, but what are you gonna do? So now we're going up to our first boss fight. It's coming up as the Dark Alpha Splinter. You start out by fighting a bunch of little splinter guys, and then the egg in the middle will hatch when you beat all of them, and a cutscene will play and some dark aether will appear and turn it dark. So what we do when we first encounter these guys is we jump over the wall and run away and just leave the battle. Just ignore all of them. Just don't waste your time fighting them. It just takes too long. It takes a couple minutes. Well, that's the end of that battle. So yeah, what you normally get is this glowing, mysterious orb. It's supposed to allow you to pick up translator devices, but without it, you can still get the translator. Right here, I just got the violet translator. So yeah, you get this energy tank. This is the fastest energy tank to get in this area so far. So you're definitely not going to want to skip it by any means. Come over here, activate this cutscene, because you've never been in this room before, right? Just carry on diagonally. The reason you need the translator is there's a gate up here, in case you haven't played the game before, or in case you don't remember, because it's a pretty long game. You open up this gate and magically teleports you right in front of it, which is convenient if you're out of bounds. But regardless, you know, this is a Metroid game. You don't necessarily need the violet translator. You can take a different route. First of all, in this room, you're going to want to go towards the door. Just like load the room around you. In this case, I actually failed. I was supposed to jump to the door and touch it, and then just stay in bounds while it loaded. Whoops. The alternative, if you mess that up, it's actually really simple. You just find a slope in the ceiling, you just bomb on top of it, just bomb jump on top of it, land on it, and then unmorph, and you'll just pop back in bounds. Sometimes it'll make you morph again, but it's not really an issue. You just touch the door and walk back, and you'll be able to carry on as if nothing went wrong. So since we're taking a different route, we get this energy tank now. Because this is going to be our only visit through this room for a good while. And we're going to want to get back out of bounds to get the power bomb tank. This is what we call, in the Metroid community, a ghetto jump. Basically, it allows us to jump higher. Look at that again. A jump off this slope, and then that gives me just enough extra distance to get behind this branch, and lets me land with a space jump onto that very difficult to see rock. It's very dark. It takes a lot of practice. This was probably one of the hardest tricks to learn for me. And after you do that, you just jump behind the tree, just wiggle your way down, and you're out of bounds. It takes a lot of practice. Basically, you just have to have confidence and know that you're gonna make it if you jump a certain way, which is easier said than done, because it's a very finicky jump. So now that you're back here, you don't necessarily have to load this room, but you're gonna want to at least transition it once so that you can see the room at all. And you could get this power bomb whether or not you're in the correct room on the minimap. However, if you're not in this room, you have to be very careful, because if you accidentally go back inbounds through this upper area between the two power bomb gates, you'll be permanently stuck. You can't power bomb them when the room's not active. You're gonna need a lot of patience when experimenting. Like, if you just try to wing it, try to get back in bounds, just like morph onto a ceiling or next to a wall, well, sometimes you'll run into this problem where you'll be permanently stuck. You'll be completely unable to unmorph. You won't be able to bomb jump out. You won't be able to boost out, which are the usual ways to get out of being stuck. Well, it's kind of a hit or miss tactic. Good luck with that. So we carry on to Agon Waste, and this will be the end of our first segment. I thank you all for tuning in. For your information, in case you're curious, you want to compare times. In this particular run, I triggered this cutscene at around 1850. Anyways, thank you for watching this test video. If you want to see more videos like this, just drop a comment. Tell us what you think. Especially if you've been watching marathons for a long time, let us know what runs you would like to see. My first episode will probably not be this particular game, but if you like the concept of this, or if you like to see some differences, if you want to see more about like what the process of our practicing was, if you want to, or if you prefer it more as a tutorial kind of thing, just let us know what you want, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.